My name is Mary Thompson, and I am 70 years old now. My hair is white, my back is bent, but my heart still remembers everything. Every sacrifice, every smile, every tear. I live alone in a small wooden house on the edge of a quiet town in Ohio. The porch where I now sit used to echo with laughter, with footsteps, with the sound of life. Today it is only silence and the creak of an old rocking chair. You see, I raised a son all by myself. His name is David. He was the love of my life. The only reason I kept going after life took everything else from me. His father, John Thompson, died when David was only 5 years old. A car accident on a snowy night. And in one moment, my entire world collapsed. I remember standing at John's funeral, holding little David's hand. He looked up at me with big brown eyes and asked, "Mom, where did Dad go?" I couldn't even breathe. My heart broke into pieces. But I bent down, hugged him tight, and whispered, "Daddy's gone to heaven, sweetheart, but don't worry. Mommy's here, I'll never leave you." From that day on, it was me and David against the world. Life after John's death was not easy. I was just 28 then, with no college degree, no savings, only a child to feed and bills that never stopped coming. I took 2 jobs. During the day, I worked as a cashier at the grocery store downtown. At night, I cleaned offices. I barely slept 4 hours a night. My hands cracked from scrubbing floors. My feet ached from standing all day. But when I came home and saw David sleeping peacefully, I felt strong again. I never bought anything for myself. If I had $10, I spent 9 on David and saved 1 for rent or bills. His school shoes, his books, his lunch money, they were my priority. I still remember sewing his Halloween costume with old fabric because I couldn't afford a new one. When he ran around proudly saying, "My mom made this for me," my heart melted. Neighbors often told me, "Mary, you're sacrificing too much. Children grow up and forget." But I never believed them. I always thought, not my David, my son is different. He will remember. He will love me back. David was a sweet boy when he was little. He would wait for me by the window every evening, his small face pressed against the glass. The moment I opened the door, he would run and hug me, saying, "Mommy, you're home." At night, after I finished cooking and cleaning, I would sit with him and read stories. He loved hearing about brave knights and kind kings. Sometimes, he would touch my tired face and say, "Mom, when I grow up, I'll buy you a big house. You'll never have to work again." Those words were my strength. I believed them with all my heart. I raised him with values, honesty, kindness, respect. Every Sunday, we went to church. I made sure he understood the importance of gratitude. I thought I was shaping a good man, one who would stand tall and make his father proud. For years it felt like we were winning against the struggles. David got good grades, he was well-mannered, teachers praised him, neighbors adored him, and I thought, maybe my sacrifices were finally worth it. When David turned 16, I even saved enough to buy him a second-hand car. It wasn't much, an old rusty sedan, but his face lit up like Christmas morning. He hugged me so tightly and said, "Mom, you're the best. I'll take care of you forever." That night, when I lay in bed, I cried tears of joy. I thought to myself, my boy will never let me down. My future is safe in his hands. Beta, if only I knew then what the future held. If only I knew how love can sometimes turn into betrayal, how dreams can shatter into nightmares. Because the same boy who once hugged me and promised the world, one day, that very boy would raise his hand against me. The first time I noticed something different in David, he was about 17. He came home late one night. His eyes were red, his shirt wrinkled, and his breath smelled strange, like smoke. I asked gently, "David, where were you?" He shrugged, avoided my eyes, and muttered, "Just hanging out with friends, Mom. Don't worry about it." I wanted to believe him, Beta. I wanted to think my son was still the sweet boy I raised. But deep inside, a mother always knows when something is wrong. Soon it became a pattern. He stayed out longer, came home angry, slammed doors, and shouted at me for the smallest things. One night, when I tried to take his dirty laundry, I found cigarette packets hidden in his jeans. My hands trembled as I held them. This wasn't my little boy anymore. I sat with him that night. My voice shook, but I tried to stay calm. David, you know I love you more than anything in this world. Please don't go down the wrong path. Cigarettes, drinking, staying out all night, it will destroy your life. He didn't even look at me. He just rolled his eyes and said, Mom, stop acting like I'm a kid. Everyone does it. You wouldn't understand. Those words cut me. Wouldn't understand. Hadn't I understood his hunger when I gave him my last piece of bread? Hadn't I understood his needs when I worked 2 jobs, day and night? But now, I was no longer the woman he respected. I was just the old mother who doesn't get it. As David turned 19, things grew worse. He dropped out of college, saying he wasn't interested. I begged him to continue, but he yelled, It's my life. Mom, stop controlling me. He started asking for money, large sums. At first, he said it was for business ideas. Later, I learned he was gambling with his friends. When I couldn't give him what he wanted, his face would twist with anger. You worked all your life, and you have nothing to show for it. What kind of mother are you? Those words were knives in my heart. I had given him everything: my youth, my health, my happiness. And yet, in his eyes, I was nothing. I will never forget one winter evening. Snow fell outside, and the house was cold because I couldn't afford extra heating. I was sitting by the small heater, knitting, when David stormed in. Mom, he said, his voice sharp, sell the house. We can get at least $80,000 for it. Give me the money, and I'll invest. We'll both be rich. I froze. This house was all I had left of John, my late husband. His hands had built the porch. His laughter had filled the rooms. How could I sell it? I shook my head gently. No, David. This house is not just bricks. It's our life, our memories. Without it, we'll have nothing. His face twisted with rage. He slammed his fist on the table and shouted, If you don't sell it, I'll make sure you regret it. For the first time, I saw something in his eyes that terrified me, not just anger, but darkness. From that day, I could not sleep in peace. Every night, I lay awake, listening to the creaks of the old house, wondering if my son would truly hurt me. I prayed endlessly. Lord, please bring my David back. Not this angry, greedy man, but my little boy who once promised to take care of me. But prayers, Beta, are sometimes answered late. And before they are answered, life tests us in ways we never imagined. Because the day would come when my own son would raise his hand, not just in anger, but in an attempt to end my life. It was a rainy evening, one of those nights when the thunder shakes the house and lightning makes the windows rattle. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, staring at the candlelight because the power had gone out. David came home late, drenched, his shirt half open, eyes red with rage. I could smell alcohol from across the room. He slammed the door so hard the whole house shook. Mom, he growled, this is the last time I'm asking you. Sign the papers, sell this house. I need that money. I looked at him, my hands trembling, but my voice steady. No, David. This house is not for sale. It's all we have left of your father. Without it, we are nothing. His face twisted, his jaw clenched. For a moment, I thought he might cry, but instead, he screamed, You've ruined my life, Mom. Always holding me back. If you won't give me the house, then you don't deserve it either. Before I could even stand, he grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter. The silver blade glinted in the candlelight. My breath caught in my chest. My own son, the child I carried in my womb, the baby whose fever I prayed over. The boy I once rocked to sleep, now stood before me with murder in his eyes. But instead of screaming, I whispered, David, if killing me will give you peace, then do it. But remember this, Even if you cut my heart open, all you will find inside is love for you." His hand trembled. His knuckles turned white around the knife handle. For a second, I thought he would plunge it into me. But then, he froze. His eyes filled with tears. The knife clattered to the floor. He pressed his hands to his face, sobbing, I can't do this." And before I could move toward him, he ran out of the house, into the storm, leaving me shaking, alone, and broken. I fell to my knees on the kitchen floor, the sound of the rain pounding outside. My whole body trembled. My son had nearly killed me, and yet, I didn't hate him. I didn't even curse him. I just cried, whispering his name again and again. David, David. The neighbors heard the shouting and came knocking. They saw me on the floor, the knife lying nearby. One of them wanted to call the police, but I begged them not to. "No," I said. "He's my son. He's not a criminal. He's lost, but he's still my child." That night, I sat alone in the dark, staring at the empty chair across the table. My heart had shattered into pieces, but somehow, I still loved him. Because, Beta, a mother's love doesn't die, even when her child tries to kill her. Days turned into weeks, but David never came back. I didn't know if he was alive, if he was safe, or if he even remembered the mother he left behind. Every night, I sat by the window, staring at the road, hoping to see him walking back home. Sometimes I thought I saw his shadow in the rain, but it was only the wind moving the trees. I prayed harder than ever. Lord, please save him. Keep him safe. If not for me, then for his own soul. I didn't pray for punishment. I didn't pray for revenge. I only prayed for my son's redemption. Because that is what a mother does. She forgives, even when forgiveness feels impossible. After that night, my home became quieter than ever before. The walls still stood, the clock still ticked, and the wind still rattled the windows, but the warmth, the laughter, the sound of footsteps I once knew, all of it was gone. I would wake up each morning and cook breakfast for one. I would place 2 cups of tea on the table, one for me, one for him, and watch the second cup grow cold. Neighbors often whispered about me. Some said, "Poor Mary, her son abandoned her." Others said, "She should have let the police take him. He was dangerous." But I never answered them. Because they didn't know the truth. They didn't know that even when your child wounds you the deepest, your heart still longs for them. Years passed. My hair turned gray, my back bent with age, and my hands grew weaker. Still, I kept his room untouched, the posters on the wall, the old baseball glove on the shelf, the childhood drawings in the drawer. Every evening, I sat by the window and watched the road. Children grew into adults. Couples walked by holding hands. New families moved into the neighborhood. But my son never returned. There were nights when the silence was too much to bear. I would sit on my bed, clutching his old shirt to my chest, whispering his name. "David, where are you? Are you eating well? Are you safe?" I felt like a ghost, living among the living, a mother without her child, a woman without her purpose. My health began to fail. My legs ached when I walked, my eyes blurred when I read. Sometimes, I struggled to climb the stairs, but I never left the house. People told me, "Sell the house, Mary, move into a nursing home. You can't live like this." But I refused. What if David comes back? What if he knocks on the door and I'm not here? They laughed at my hope, but hope was all I had. I couldn't abandon the only place he might return to. One winter night, 20 years after that stormy evening when he left, I heard a knock on the door. My heart nearly stopped. No one ever visited me at that hour. Slowly, I stood up, my hands trembling, and opened the door. And there he was, David. But he wasn't the boy who had left me. He was an older man now, his hair graying at the temples, his face lined with sorrow, his clothes worn and faded, his eyes, once filled with anger, now overflowed with tears. "Mom." His voice broke as he fell to his knees. "I'm so sorry. I don't deserve to stand before you. I came to beg for your forgiveness, though I know I can never earn it." I froze. My son, The one who once tried to kill me was now broken, humbled, pleading like a child again. I didn't think, I didn't speak. I just fell to my knees beside him and wrapped my arms around him. "My son," I whispered, my tears soaking his shoulder. "You came home. That's all I ever prayed for. You don't need to beg. You were forgiven the moment you left. A mother's heart doesn't hold grudges, only love." He sobbed in my arms like the little boy he once was. His body shook, and he kept repeating, "I don't deserve you, Mom. I don't deserve your love." But I held him tighter. Because in that moment, it didn't matter what he had done. What mattered was that he was home. We sat by the fireplace that night, my old hands holding his rough, scarred ones. His face was thinner, his eyes sunken, but his soul, it looked like it had been carrying stones for decades. "Mom," David whispered, "I need to tell you everything. I can't keep this inside anymore." I nodded, bracing myself for the truth. He took a deep breath. After that night, I ran. I couldn't face what I had almost done. I hated myself, but I was too proud to come back. I fell in with the wrong people, gamblers, thieves, men who lived off lies. For years, I drank to forget. I stole to survive. I even hurt people who trusted me. Every day I told myself I'd stop, but the darkness just pulled me deeper. His voice cracked. There were nights when I slept under bridges, nights I begged for food. I thought about you, Mom, every single day. But I was too ashamed. I thought you'd never forgive me. I thought I had lost you forever. He bowed his head into my lap, like a child again, sobbing. "Mom," he said, his voice shaking, "I need you to know something. That night when I held the knife, I wanted to end it all. My anger, my greed, my pain. But when you said that even if I cut your heart open, all I'd find was love, those words haunted me. They followed me everywhere. In the darkest bars, in the coldest alleys, even in jail cells. Yes, I was locked up once. I kept hearing your voice. Your love wouldn't leave me, no matter how far I ran." I stroked his hair gently. "That was not my strength, David. That was God's love working through a mother's heart. Love never dies, even when people do terrible things." He shook his head, tears dripping onto the floor. "I wasted my life, Mom. I could have been someone. I could have given you the world. Instead, I gave you pain." I lifted his chin so he would look at me. "No, son. You gave me something more precious than the world. You gave me the chance to love without limits. And now, you've given me what I prayed for, your return." From that day, our lives slowly began to heal. David stayed with me, repairing the broken things in the house with his own hands. Every nail he hammered, every wall he painted, it was like he was piecing together not just the house, but also our bond. He started working odd jobs, fixing cars, painting fences, even cleaning yards. He brought home small amounts of money and laid them in my hands, whispering, "This is for you, Mom. It's not much, but it's honest." I didn't care about the money. What mattered was that my son was finally walking a different path. Sometimes at night, when David was asleep in his old room, I would sit by the window again. But this time, instead of waiting, I would smile. My wait was over. My prayers had been answered. Life had not given me wealth, comfort, or luxury, but it had given me something more powerful, a story of love and forgiveness that could outlive pain. Because, Beta, let me tell you this truth. When a mother loves, she doesn't love because her child is perfect. She loves because he is hers. And that bond, though tested, though torn, though nearly destroyed, can still find its way back home. The days that followed were unlike any I had known in decades. For the first time in 20 years, I didn't eat alone. The house, once echoing with silence, now carried the sound of David's footsteps, his voice calling, "Mom, do you need anything?" It felt like life had given me back what it had once taken away. David changed slowly but surely. He no longer touched alcohol. He avoided his old friends. He spent hours reading the Bible, sometimes aloud, his voice trembling as he whispered, "Mom, I want to be a better man. Not just for me, for you." Every word healed a crack in my heart. When people in the neighborhood saw David return, many were shocked. Some whispered, "Isn't that the boy who abandoned his mother?" Others muttered, "After what he did, how can she let him stay?" But I didn't care. One neighbor asked me directly, "Mary, after all the pain he caused you, how can you forgive him?" I smiled softly. "Because he's my son." Forgiveness isn't about what someone deserves. It's about love that refuses to die. And with that, the whispers stopped mattering. Because my truth wasn't for them, it was for me. And for David. One Sunday morning, David surprised me. "Mom," he said nervously, "I want to take you somewhere." He led me to a small community center where people struggling with addiction gathered. David stood in front of the group, his voice shaking. "My name is David," he said, "and I once almost killed the person who loved me most, my mother. I wasted years in darkness, but my mother's love never let me go. Her forgiveness saved me, and if I can change, maybe you can too." Tears filled my eyes as I listened. My son, who once brought me shame and fear, was now using his story to bring hope to others. The years passed quickly after that. My body grew weaker, but my heart grew lighter. Because I wasn't waiting anymore, I was living. David cared for me tenderly. He cooked for me, helped me walk when my legs ached, and read to me when my eyes blurred. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, he held my hand and whispered, "Mom, I don't know how much time we have left together, but I promise, for the rest of your days, you won't be alone. I'll be right here." And he kept that promise. I knew my time was near when the air felt heavier, when my breaths came slower. One night, I called David to my bedside. "Son," I whispered, "do you remember that stormy night, long ago, when you held a knife to me?" His eyes filled with tears. "Mom, please, don't remind me." But I smiled weakly. "No, listen. That night, I saw death in your eyes, but I also saw a boy lost in pain, and I chose love instead of fear. If I had died that night, I would have died with love in my heart. And now, as I leave this world, I still carry nothing but love for you." He sobbed, clutching my hand. "I don't deserve you, Mom. I'll never deserve you." I touched his face gently. A child never has to deserve a mother's love. He just has it. Always. Those were my last words to him. And with a final breath, I let go. I am gone now, Beta. But my story doesn't end here. Because David carried it forward. At my funeral, he stood before the people, tears streaming down his face, and said, "My mother was my savior. I betrayed her. I tried to take from her the only thing she had. I even raised my hand against her, but she never stopped loving me. She forgave me before I asked. She welcomed me before I returned, and she carried me when I could not carry myself. If you have a mother, cherish her. Don't wait until it's too late. Because when she's gone, no one will ever love you the same way again." The crowd wept with him. And in that moment, I knew my story had not been in vain. So here is my truth, everyone. Life will test you. Children may betray parents. Parents may fail children. But love, true love, survives the storm. I was a mother whose son once tried to kill her. And yet, I was also a mother whose son came home, broken but willing to change. And I forgave. Because that is what mothers do. So if you are listening to my story today, don't carry hate in your heart. Don't let anger be the last memory you leave behind. Love while you can. Forgive while you can. Because tomorrow is never promised.